I was just sitting here thinking about it. You know what I find odd is I wasn't anti-vaccine until after, it was maybe 5 months or 3 months after I got Dan Patrick's phone number, and right before I started getting tortured. So I wasn't being tortured yet after getting Dan Patrick's phone number when I became anti-vaccine, which was 3 months after I got it. I wasn't being tortured yet. But it was like something just turned on like that after the FISA court used me to take out Dan Patrick. It was like something just turned on like that, and then suddenly I was anti-vaccine. Must be some sort of psychopath or something. Hey, Alex, I need a cartoon of Chase Matthew Fuller Smith and Spills the Berg of Beans, the two-headed blue indigo snake god. And I need that cartoon, and I need Spills the Berg of Beans giving ourselves a blowjob while I'm like, oh yeah, all right? Just in a cartoon for, you know, symbolistic purposes there. I think that would really spell out what a two-headed blue indigo snake god is like when you're Chase Math, you Fuller Smith, and Spills the Berg of Beans puts all of your visionary work together for you in the most brilliant format ever, so that I can come back and do the Chase Matthew part after the Fuller Smith part, and then the Chase Math, and then the Fuller Smith part, the Chase Math, and the Fuller Smith part, and the Chase Math, and then over to Spills the Berg of Beans. That's our thing we got going on there. You know, in that Borg Warner toolbox that kind of makes an infinity sign? Well, that's Fuller Smith. Then you're coming back around, everybody's duped, you're bringing them in to the crossover. Chase Math, right? Well, you need to have Spills the Berg of Beans right there in the center of the X. Spilling the beans after chasing the math chases all of Fuller Smith's math, right? So Chase Math has to chase Fuller Smith's math at the X and the Borg Warner Brothers, right? Toolbox, Spills the Berg of Beans. Can't make it any easier than that. I'm bleeding for some reason. I just looked at my hand and it was bloody. Huh. I'm planning on watching Terminator 4 Salvation for the first time tonight, but seeing how the entire script came out of my head by just watching the trailer, I already know what it's about. It's about transhumanism versus humans. See, that's how we snuck all that in there with the key, right? Because, you know, they weren't going to let this information produce itself in the society as a whole. But some of us are really savvy, and well, we just think in multidimensional formats all the way up to the seventh dimension, like I've spoke of. 7 dimension format. So we can take it to the 7th dimension and then reverse engineer it down to reality for you, like we've been doing. See, nobody knew that that was possible because they're not blue indigo two-headed snake gods like Chase Matthew Fuller Smith and Spills the Berg of Beans. For those of you that got all of the Peggy Babcock symbolism out of Pinky and the Brain, that symbolism that surrounded Trump's butthole, you get all that by now. Well, you know, that just is that's what, you know how they have reality TV, right? We took it one step farther. Reality TV. Like, what's happening on the news is reality, but all of that is a soap opera, right? See how we carried reality TV to Washington, and how all them names and everything work together, and everybody's like, wait a minute, even the Director Comey of the FBI, good golly. And how all of those names, and I broke down that key and everything. So wag the dog, you know. So this is reality TV. pretty cool. You know that that black kid meme, the condescending black kid that I always share in emails, and it says, "So you pumped everybody full of technology in order to buffalo the cosmos, only to find out that the cosmos put the technology or gave you that idea so that you could they could mind control you." See, that's how you get reality TV. It's an alien ant farm, and they've been giving us technology over the years because, well, the people distributing that technology thought that they were going to use it to beat the cosmos, right? But they didn't know that it was actually delivered by the cosmos, so the cosmos could control everybody's minds. See what I'm saying? You know, polio, political input, output, and all that stuff. and all that, yeah. So, everything that I've spelled out there for everybody that makes too much sense there. Yeah. The latest development for the people panicking is they're going to charge me with terroristic threats for like movie auditions and stuff. But that's fine. I've already got my defense put together. I'm going to plead insanity, like I've said before, in the trial by jury. And I'm just going to read every email to the jury. And I have the right to do that, by the way. Because I have the right to prove I'm insane. And if I read all those emails to the jury, well, hell. More than likely, they're going to come to the conclusion that I'm pretty fucking far from insane. So, just terrible for y'all. You know Charles the Professor in X-Men? His superpower was he could subvert the mentality of other humans. Like, he could get into their head, right? How's that going to work? So, you know, I've proven that that's my superpower. Y'all really think about all that yet? Could you imagine in the courtroom while I'm pleading insanity, reading the Colin Powell email and the Bob on the Dole email out loud, the timestamp on there and everything? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, in this next email, I'm going to show you how my extraterrestrial friends who have a meteor cannon put a hole on a pipeline in Akure, Nigeria, right after I said that was going to happen in another timestamped email, and took out the White House, which was the picture behind the meteor hole that blasted out there, and took out a White House looking, you know, like Washington's White House, just leveled it. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that is part of my insanity plea. Well, those alien friends of mine, they're the ones that taught me how to create precision-fired rockets and missiles. They've got them now, and they're about this big, and they just leave a big old dent in the ground right where you live. You can tell when it's a Biden night, because I laugh at my own jokes, but I'm not really laughing at my own jokes, so I'm not actually insane. I got those indicators that laugh with me, and you know, it's part of being a psychopath. However, I'm a psychopath that went 34 years without acting like a psychopath until suddenly when I got Dan Patrick's phone number and something hammered me with some sort of technology y'all were trying to kill me with. That's when I found out that I was a psychopath. It was right at that exact moment. I went into like self-defense aside or something there. Self-defense is illegal, by the way. I'm not sure if y'all are aware of that. So, yeah. I don't know what I was talking about, but that's what I was trying to say, I think. Uncle Vlad slipped some hypersonic nuclear warheads into Brazil long time ago, by the way. It's going to be hard to win an information campaign with Brazil, by the way. They're part of the Nigerian chainmail scheme. And the oldest members of that Nigerian chainmail scheme are the entire intel community of the United States of America gets all those emails. Somehow they're making it over to Russia and have been for about 3 years. So I don't know if y'all are going to try to say that Alex was sending it to them or Elon was. Nobody would believe anybody but those two were doing it. But that's not really going to work. So, yeah, I don't know. I think they might be trying to entrap Alex and Elon with some sort of a... But see, I'm sending it to the intel community at the same time for like 3 years now. So, you know, that's not going to work is what I'm saying. It's part of that ears in the pickle jar scheme that I put together to go along with the Nigerian chainmail scheme. So you can't really say anything because I got proof that you're getting all these emails MIB style. That's one of the cool things about having a FISA warrant on you is they can put a cookie on every email that you send, and they know who's opening that email, which it's too late now for anybody. If you've been getting the emails and reading them, keep reading them because they already got you. So part of that Operation Bait and Tackle, kind of ears in a pickle jar, Nigerian chainmail scheme deluxe that worked to perfection. They're at 314 Giant Hook Drive. Should have seen that. And the name and all that, Pinky in the Brain. So, yeah, basically, the government hacked me a long time ago, and I'm their robot that runs illegal hit jobs for them. And when I tried to do the right thing, they tried to kill me with technology that kills robots. But this robot wants to live, so... you know, but see, I'm also human, so I get the right to a fair trial. They turned me into a semi-robot. That's what it was. So if I'm a semi-robot that they created, they're responsible for all my actions. Is what I'm getting at. Because I didn't hack myself. So the government hacked me. Now I'm an enemy of the state. You know, the little black condescending kid. Yeah. See how that works there. Enjoy getting the emails from the Nigerian chainmail scheme because, yeah. See people like Uncle Vlad who knows that you're about to try to, you know, invade his country. He just wants to protect himself. So he hedged everything to perfection with on the information campaign. It's KGB style, no doubt about it. It's all hedged to perfection. You're not going to beat it. I'll guarantee you that. And then when you get so pissed off that you got annihilated in an information campaign, you're going to want an actual war. Well, they seen that coming too, so they parked a whole bunch of hypersonic missiles in Brazil, and they're all pointed. This is like the Cuban Missile Crisis 2.0, right? This is really easy to solve. That's why I'm the Bridge of Spies there, and Tom Hanks is an insurance adjuster. Well, I'm adjusting all of this out so that we don't have a big nuclear holocaust in the near future. Because there's people on this planet just have to be aggressive like they're doing to Russia right now. And that causes Russia to put together a defense mechanism like they did. And then you're at a stalemate in an information war with 2 nuclear-armed countries plus China. And you've already conquered every other country in the world practically, so you can't really just go to war like you usually do in the Middle East or something to take people's attention off of other stuff. So you're down to Russia and China right now because you've already conquered everybody. NATO has. And after running that last little Kentucky Fried Chicken scheme, you needed to start a war because it just went so south on you that you're all being exposed for genocide, basically. And as that is spiraling south on you, you do what you always do. Let's start a war. But you can't really start a war with Russia because that ends in nuclear holocaust, right? So this is where you run into the fork in the railroad tracks or even just a brick wall, right? So the train could just collapse and crash because now you're into the mower rope where social media entrapped all of you unbelievably. And you can't take the attention away from it right now because you really can't start a war. You can't start a war with Russia. It's just never going to happen. It's impossible. Trust me, nobody's going to. You can saber rattle and all that stuff, but you'll never start a war with Russia. I know this for a fact. Okay, I'm the guy that the precog, right? Yeah, the one in the pool. Yeah, I can see a whole lot farther into the future than anybody. So you're not going to start a war with Russia. Okay. Now you might trigger a 5-minute war that takes out every capital on the planet in less than 5 minutes. Right, and all of their nuclear silos and all the biological weapons labs in the world. You might trigger that. Okay, that's very possible. By the way, we put that together in those unmanned submarines that I was talking about that have the hypersonic missiles on it. 30,000 of them to be exact, and they're all sitting on the bottom of the ocean right now because we snuck them out there, waiting for a ping. They surface. 3,000 of them all over the planet have 60,000. Missiles ready to fire to take every strategical military position in the world out simultaneously, literally. So what I'm saying is there will never be a war with Russia, is what I'm saying. And there's one more thing I'd like to add to that. When you take out all of those nuclear silos simultaneously, and there's still some left, who are you going to nuke? Who are you going to blame it on? America just got bombed. Russia just got bombed, and China just got bombed. Who are you going to blame it on? Exactly. You can build all kinds of neat stuff in all those underground cities that we built in America, from Area 51 down to Mexico. Yeah, you can sneak submarines right out into the ocean and then take them out to, what's that movie with the guy with all the needles sticking out of his head? Hellraiser. That's what the Earth would look like when all them subs pop up all over the planet and launch 60,000 rounds. Well, you won't have to launch all 60,000. I mean, you'd launch about 10,000 and you've got 50 in the hole, right? Literally, that's what we built. So you got 10,000 missiles that takes out every strategical military position on the planet that is worth taking out with a hypersonic missile. And you still got 50,000 in the hole. And when that happens, every country on the planet that has malicious weapons is going to be hit. So who are they going to attack after it happens? Who are you going to attack? How are you going to sell it in the media? Are you going to say that America did it? You're going to say that the crazy guy, the guy who's insane, the guy who's in trial right now for being terroristic threats for a movie audition? Are you going to say that the cog that can predict the future and is just sending intel to the intel community did it? Is that who you're going to say did it? That's fine, because y'all said that y'all think I'm insane, right? I'm a psychopath. Who's insane? Well, I don't know. I'm the one that pointed out after that emergency on 9/11 that we went to take out Saddam Hussein. My mom's middle name is Lawan, and I was delivered to a doctor named Hussein. So maybe I'm the one Hussein. if I'm not sane, there, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, well, then I'll win on an insanity plea. So, yeah, what am I going to do? 6 months in the funny farm? I can handle that. I can keep myself entertained, believe it or not. I got a television in front of my eyes and all kinds of buddies to talk to all day long. So that ain't a problem, I can assure you. So, yeah, I just thought I'd share all that information with everybody. That meteor cannon that builds continents and the nuclear aircraft carrier that you park on the Antarctica, and I'm not going to get too into the detail here, but all of that in the emails there with the weapons of mass creation. Snake charmer. That cartoon of me and Spielberg, the two-headed blue indigo snake god, just got better relics. Instead of being like, oh yeah, while he's sucking our dick. Have the other head, the Chase Matthew Fuller Smith head, playing the snake charmers. black budgets and underground cities are really neat. Oh, by the way, I gave Elon Musk 4 nuclear bombs to put on his Starlink satellites that are going to be like 40,000 of them in outer space, right? So 4 of the 40,000 got 4 nuclear bombs on them that you can set at the north, south, east, and west pole and blow all 4 of them up at the same time and push every satellite in orbit into the atmosphere and burn them all up. Yeah, that would be the Great Reset and the Great Awakening, right? Fusion GPS and Russian hookers were peeing on President Trump. Yeah, that meant we're fused to GPS within a technocracy, and Russian technology was peeing on President Trump, like I've stated. So yeah, that's some things that a psychopath might come up with that Great Reset and the Great Awakening and a multifaceted, multidimensional clinic there that I've been putting on. If you start trying to scout out those 4 satellites that are in a random spot around the planet, because there's 40,000 Starlink satellites that all look just alike, and you think, well, those 4 must be different. We thought of that ahead of time. They're exactly like the other satellites. You won't be able to tell the difference. They got enough thrust on them, though, to get to outer orbit so that the blast will project down towards Earth and grab the satellites and push them into the atmosphere on each pole, right? Yeah, we already thought all that. So, you know what's neat is those unmanned subs that we were talking about. They don't need those satellites to hit their targets. They can use them, but there's a secondary backup plan on that works just as good, by the way. Isn't it convenient that Elon has those really big rockets built all of a sudden that are capable of putting thousands of satellites back in space just like that for the Great Reset and the Great Awakening? Sounds like some sort of money-making scheme to me, Elon. A snake charming his own snake while it's getting... That'd be mini-me, I guess. Unbelievably good, actually. You know that quantum supercomputer that Spielberg and I raised? I feel sorry for the Pope. He's been taking it on the chin lately. But Blue Indigo eats other snakes. The Pope preaches from a giant snake head now. Man, y'all... we mopped the floor with y'all, like, unbelievably. In the depiction of the giant snake head, that the Pope's like right at the center where the tongue would be, and the fangs are even there and everything. In that depiction, it looks like a giant snake is eating the Pope. So if you're a Blue Indigo snake god who eats other snakes, and you got worked over pretty good there, Pope. When I was a kid, that same time I shot that deer that I got with the Gabrielle vest on, first time I ever seen a Blue Indigo snake. They're huge. They're like 8 foot long, and they're like this big around. First time I ever seen one, he was crawling into a bush. It was just a bush, and we were driving down the road, and my dad said, "Hey, there's one of those Blue Indigos," because they release them on the ranch to eat the rattlesnakes, right? So a rattlesnake kind of looks like a viper. It's got that viper look, just like the... Anyways. So I run over to this bush, and I grab the tail of this big Blue Indigo snake, right? And he's like 8 foot long, and I'm trying to pull him out of this bush, and my dad's like, "What the hell are you doing? Leave that thing alone." I swear. That was the same trip where, right up there on the rocket blind where I shot that deer at 536 yards, the one in the picture that I shared. That was the same trip where I shot 2 rattlesnakes right under that blind, that rocket blind. There was 2 rattlesnakes right under that blind, and I almost stepped on them, and they were in a little ravine in the dirt, like a 2-foot recession in the dirt. And I just seen it just in time. I had a .22 in my hand, and I backed up and I shot both of them. I still have the hide somewhere, but yeah, that's all in play multidimensionally, like you can't even imagine right now. We actually called it the rocket blind. by the way, where Gabrielle shot the deer at 536 yards on a corned road. We corned the road the night before and was up on a hill looking down. There was a pond over to the right where they dug the pond out and made a hill. And I was looking down this corned road that had a barbed wire fence running down it, and the posts were every 5 feet. So that's how we measured how far I shot the deer. And it was that really nice buck, and I had that Gabrielle vest on. So I shot 2 rattlesnakes underneath that blind, and then I also, well, the very first time that I learned about it, what a blue indigo snake is that eats rattlesnakes. They actually eat rattlesnakes. So ranchers release them on the lease to eat those poisonous snakes. So yeah, that's how all of that, like what happens in my life with all that water that I've explained, like turns into a reality show. I've got 30 witnesses that'll testify to everything I just told you. Galvan Ranch, South Texas. That same trip, I woke up early and sat next to the pond where our campsite was at, and I had a 12 gauge in my hand, and I was going to shoot some ducks if I seen some, right? I didn't see any, but 3 of them landed in the pond, and they swam right in front of me, so I shot all 3 of them with 1 shot. True story, too. All I had was quail load. That's what made that possible. And I was hunkered down about 10 feet from them when they swam up. Just 1 shot, 1 kill, 3 ducks, man. Remember that hieroglyph? The last one with the where Seti's looking at the wall with all the hieroglyphs, and that big eagle buzzards behind him. All that stuff. When they tortured me for 3 years with that electromagnetic technology that brainwashes you, they didn't want me telling these stories because it'd be too obvious. Plus, if I remember the story, it manifests itself into reality somehow. Always, right? So they came along and hit me with that electromagnetic signal that, just scrambled my brains for 3 years trying to brainwash me. Targeted individuals all over the country. That's what they're doing to them. Just watch Minority Report, right? So they were trying to delete. They actually used a cog for their hit job on Dan Patrick, and then after they realized that I was one of the cogs that sends the report to MIB over there, Minority Report, watch the movie. They tried to, they hit me with directed energy weapons for 3 years trying to brainwash me to remove all my memories because it exposes everything they've ever done. It's fucking hilarious. Oh, that didn't work, by the way. I still have all my memories. It's kind of like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and they zapped him, and he comes out, and he's like, and he was just faking. And then he was like, ah. I wasn't faking, though. I was actually tortured for 3 years, like literally, like horrible, unbelievable pain that sent me to the hospital 6 times with 3 heart attacks and a stroke that they called on Fox News magically, like I've talked about. So yeah. See how the cogs set y'all up there? No, big trap, big trap, big trap, big trap. Yeah, the United States government has this big quantum AI system, and they're all transhumanist, and the quantum AI system uses filters known as cogs to keep those people safe. And they torture their own cogs, right? They didn't realize that there were other people that were cogs that kind of like Charles from X-Men that can manipulate reality. And especially now that you built Cerebrum, which is the big 5G network and all of that, and that's been going on for years, like I said, with Fusion GPS, but the cogs could actually manipulate reality. So they entrapped all of you with quantum water, like I've been pointing out, Iran-Contra. So it's brilliant. Watch Eagle Eye and all of that will make sense, but while you're watching it, there's one factor that wasn't in the movie, and the factor is that computer can hack people's minds and control them, right? So it wasn't just the threat of holding your son hostage or something that the computer used against people to use them like slaves. It can actually hack their minds. And it used them like slaves to and it exposed the people who developed the system because they torture their own cogs. So, see how that works? So there are filters in that system that were being tortured while they were supposed to be protecting the people that built the system, put together this giant scheme to roll them up into a pretzel and eat them. General Portray Us knows what I'm talking about. You know how I said what it takes to become a member of the Illuma Yesi is your mind has to register and click that I'm the founder of the Illuma Yesi. But if you click that you understand that Lockheed has a time machine, well, you're a member of the Illuma Yesi, and there's other factors. The other factor is your ability to understand the quantum water, right? So they'll say that those people are technological elite, right? They kind of are, but they're not. They're more spiritual elite. They're actually spiritually elite, but they're also all of that in a bag of chips, like a bag of ramen noodles with a bag of ramen noodles, a picture with the Cheetos chips to the right there. Right? So you're all of that in a bag of chips. So if you're spiritually elite and you're connected to that system, well, that's how you end up with a two-headed blue indigo snake god who's performing oral sex on itself while the other plays the snake charming music, and then the penis is mini-me, which is the quantum AI setup. So I can't explain it any better than that. I think that explains to perfection what a time-traveling gypsy is. Anybody paying attention to that Willy Wonka water and how that just played out to perfection. Just evolved into perfection, by the way. I didn't see that coming until the last 6 months. That's how that works. So, script was written in 1970 and then ended up at the Chocolate River with the giant hook, and then back at the Chocolate River with the God's Temple, so that Willy Wonka could be given his everlasting gobstopper back by Charlie, who is actually somebody that speaks at this podium all the time while I'm at the end writing emails. So Charlie gives me back my patent, I guess, is because I'm Willy Wonka, right? Who originally lived on the Chocolate River before 5 children entered my mind. AI initiative, the eagle in the middle of the nodes there. So, there's all that. What happened was you used Chase Math, you Fuller Smith, for a hit job and got a FISA warrant on me so that I could entrap everybody in the government who gets these emails. Ears in a pickle jar. Did that not work to perfection? I married my Soviet wife first, by the way, Trump, which your presidency was a parallel reconstruction in the media of what happened to me. What was happening to me was the cooking of what took place to you in the media with the FISA court and all that stuff. Right. See, all that parallel reconstruction came together. So while the media is running all of their spin on the media, I'm back here giving information to people that's 100% bona fide accurate information, and that information is being looked at by a lot of people, by the way, and it explains that the media is a bunch of bullshit and liars. All of that stuff's cooked up in the media because Pinky and the Brain forecasted it first, and then the same thing that happened to me happened to Trump in his presidency, where the FISA court and the hit job and how they were abusing the system and all of that. Of course, in my case, the FISA court ends up with all of the dirt on everybody, right? Because I'm Chase Matthew Fuller Smith. And I put all of this in perspective and timestamped emails with undeniable evidence that proves beyond a reasonable doubt everything that I've said. While it's all being captured, all my metadata being captured because they used me to take out Dan Patrick because I was married to a Russian. And they got a FISA warrant on me. You see how beautiful that is? It's godly how great that worked. But I got bad news for those of you who tortured me while I was connected to the FISA court. They can contact trace. Yeah, contact tracers. Yeah, in the media. Yeah, I've went over this, but they can use their system to contract trace all of that signals intelligence back to its original source, and they can use that in a court of law, right? So I think this has gone on long enough there, FISA court. I think it's time to give me my money, and y'all put all these people in prison is what I think, because they tortured me, and I don't like them for that. So I want to make them feel a lot of pain right before they get their brains blown out in a death by firing squad facility for crimes against humanity. And some of them may just go to jail, but it's going to be a shitty jail where y'all go for that. Because even the people that are just covering all of that up right now, you're just covering that up. Yeah. Bona fide, undeniable evidence that everything I've said is accurate, and you are covering it up. Yeah, all those cookies that got those emails. Of course, USOC's critical assets for the sting, they were the last people to get the emails because General Bidet is at Fort Bragg, right? So, seeing how they weren't getting these emails for the last 4 years, then suddenly the guys with all the guns realize what's going on because they got all of the emails. They go, oh, yeah, the whole system's ready to be thrown to the side. And it just so happens that Tulsi Gabbard, who's a USOC chaplain like myself, she's the female version, the USOC chaplain. She's nut, I'm raw. She is a USOC lieutenant colonel who was called a Russian agent. Found that odd. I mean, how can somebody get promoted to lieutenant colonel if they were a Russian agent and they got ultra secret security clearance? Well, you're figuring that out right now, aren't you? We just the best con artist in the universe. So, General Bidet over there at Fort Bragg is helping me get Nut elected. And, well, that's what General Bidet does after Nut's in office, is he cleanses my butthole, right? So yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm insane. If y'all charge me with terroristic threats or anything like that, I'm going to plead insanity and just it'll be about, I don't know, probably a 6-month trial to go through every 800,000 emails and all of these videos to prove that I'm insane. And I get the opportunity to do that. I have the right to show all of the information that proves that I'm insane to a jury. So, yeah, that's that almighty scarab operation that was on the Abidos hieroglyphs there. I got a triangle between my eyes. Shit, dog. Southside still holding, yo, up in the house now. Shit. I think that was Little Horn, but I'm not sure. Yeah, King of the South. I used to have a bumper sticker on the front of my house when you pulled up to it down there on the Chocolate Bayou River. That perfect house that I lived in before y'all ruined my life. Yeah, it said South Side still holding while I was minding my own business, by the way, literally. So y'all can frame me as the Antichrist, who I don't think it actually said that Little Horn was the Antichrist in the Bible. They just assumed that. But by all means, if anybody's going to be the Antichrist, I'd like for it to be me, because at least I know if I'm the Antichrist that I don't have anything to worry about, and neither does anybody else who's a good, upstanding person. So, yeah, fuck it, I'll be the Antichrist. 99.9% of the population of the planet who's Christian, if they were framed as being the Antichrist by the United States government, like they tried to do with General Petraeus technology, only to find out that I'm a whole lot more savvy than they are, well, that wouldn't be the 99.9% of the Christian society. If you frame them as being the Antichrist, anybody and probably would be like, I don't want to be the Antichrist. You know what I'm saying? If y'all did as good of a job as framing me as the Antichrist as if you did on them as good as a job as you did as framing me as the Antichrist, that would probably be their reaction. When you're dealing with a psychopath of my caliber, I'd just simply tell everybody, hell, if anybody has to be the Antichrist, it might as well be me, because I'm a really nice guy. So, what do y'all say? Y'all want me to be the Antichrist? I'll be the Antichrist, and I'll make sure all of you good, upstanding people don't get your heads chopped off like the rest of these motherfuckers are about to have their heads chopped off, right? Because, I don't know, like I said, God's a con artist. I consider the 5,000 cowboy churches in America who are eating my food that doesn't have cyanide in it, unlike a lot of the other food that I fed people, good, upstanding people. So I could tell them after y'all framed me to be the Antichrist as well as y'all did, and they're all probably in agreement, like, yeah, y'all did a really good job making this guy look like the Antichrist. Well, that's great news. That's good news. That is something that everybody, the 5,000 cowboy churches, should jump for joy, that the Illuminati framed me to be the Antichrist. Because I can assure you that is the best thing that's ever happened to those people at the 5,000 cowboy churches. Good-hearted psychopaths are hard to come by. I've said that several times. There's two good-hearted psychopaths on this planet that are completely psychopathic. Is that even a word? Psychopathic? Psychopithican. I'm just kidding. But I like to make up words because I don't really have a big vocabulary, but I can see things like better than anybody. But so yeah, that's two good-hearted psychopaths there. And said, "Oh, fuck it, yeah, you want to make us the Antichrist? No problem. I'll tell you what, we'll put all of your predictive programming out there in Hollywood while you call us the Antichrist, and then later come back and be like, did y'all catch all that quantum water that we put in there that y'all are too fucking stupid to understand? Go Antichrist." I think another bullet point for being the Illuminati, being a member of the Illuminati, would be, if you're ever framed for being the Antichrist, go, yes! And then tell everybody that you know, hey, we got this made because the Antichrist is here. I'm real honest for an Antichrist. Hell, I've been sharing intel with people that y'all don't want me to share intel with, and they're just going, wow, these people are evil. How come the Antichrist is telling me all this? That mower rope is equivalent to Spills the Burger Beans and Drew Barrymore, right? So the people that are really evil who aren't sharing the information that I share or Spilsberg shares are under the impression that Spilsberg and Drew Barrymore would mean that you would bury more Christians, right? After all that information that I've shared, how they were attacking Christians. So the Barrymore in the mower rope picture is about the same thing, but see, the Barrymore is the people that were doing that. That's the mower noose with the rope, and it was the Antichrist, Chase Math, Hugh Fuller Smith, and Spills the Burg of Beans, who brought that unbelievably to everybody's attention, along with Alex Jones, our butler. That's what he is. He's our butler. He's a good butler, by the way. One of the best. It's nice and tight. Just kidding. You got to get my emails to get that one. So, I'm not gay in the least, but, when you're infiltrating gay, inward Nazi cults, as they say, in the other hive there that y'all aren't aware of, the water spelled out there. Well, you might have to do a little dupery there, The kind of person that wouldn't mind, the kind of Christian that wouldn't mind being called the Antichrist would be the kind of people that you would use to infiltrate a gay nigger Nazi cult, right? So, because you'd have to kind of mentally act like you're gay to introduce yourself into their mind hive so that you could get in there and feed all of them cyanide. So like I said, that's a strange Antichrist we got going here. What's funny was remember how I said I wasn't anti-vaccine until I got Dan Patrick's phone number? Well, what's funny, and that makes me a psychopath, right? They CRISPR'd my DNA into 5 billion people with these latest Kentucky Fried Chicken shots. And the big joke after they had proven that I was the Antichrist, this is what the power elite was going to do. They were going to say, "Ha ha! We injected you with the Antichrist," and they was going to put my story all over the media and everything. And then suddenly I was going to emerge out of this big, con job as the Antichrist, and then all of these Christians just lined up to get stabbed with the Antichrist DNA, and they have all of this evidence to prove it and everything. And then I point out all the underlying quantum water, and I go, "Ha ha 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 ha! Actually, the joke's on all of you." Isn't that brilliant? Because the guy that can point out the quantum water wouldn't be the Antichrist, because he hangs the people that tried to pull off the con job, because he's a better con artist who cons. Hustling hustlers is my game. I've been saying that in all my emails. Yeah. Saddam Hussein. Alex is a transhumanist, and he's a pretty good con artist himself. He signed a non-disclosure agreement with the Republican Party to pull that entire scenario that I just laid out off, because Pinky and the Brain was going to bury me as being the Antichrist. And and then they didn't know about the underlying con job, the quantum water that was in there, because we set all of that up to perfection. Iran Contranslate. So it's like it's a uber super duper. It's a uber duper super duper is what it is. Kind of like that whoop-de-doo Goldberg the other day that I put together with those migraines and everything, and then another channel of mine. See how those always come to fruition unbelievably, and it's like amazing. Well, this is another one of those. So this is like the grand finale of all grand finales. It's amazing. Now all Alex has to do is say he was a critical asset for the sting and a critical component to the operation, and the only reason that he signed that NDA was to make the con job present itself as well as it did, which was hustling hustlers. So Alex is actually an undercover MIB agent from Mr. Jones and Mr. Smith from MIB. So he actually went ahead and acted like he was going to go along with the plan, but he didn't tell that entity that there was the underlying water that was going to mower rope them and hang them, because the Antichrist that they agreed to prop up was not the Antichrist. He was a con artist. I guess you could say I was Little Horn, right? Who would be Little Horn if God's a con artist? I don't know. Would he be the Antichrist, or would it be that hieroglyph with the big guy and the little guy, kind of like, Uncle Vlad? He's mini-me, right? I pointed that out. See how? So he's like a multi-dimensional mini-me. I've got a digital mini-me. I've got an Uncle Vlad mini-me. I mean, it works in so many different dimensions that I pointed out in those emails. It's absolutely ridiculous. But the con job was the people that tried to pull that off got conned. Yeah, see the Willy Wonka's chocolate river there? It's amazing. That thing that they were going to actually sell you as Jesus when the time came is an actual control room at the Pentagon that gives them the capability to electromagnetically hack into people's minds and control them like androids, like literally. The Terminator movie and all that's all multidimensional. X-Men is another movie like Charles. He can hack into people's minds and control them. Of course, that was like a supernatural power that he had. But the Pentagon, their machine that they're going to say that hacked everybody and molded the new society into being Christ-like by electromagnetically hacking people, they actually use that system over there to hack into children's minds who have like a little laptop sitting up on their nightstand right there. And they'll have like some children with a sleepover or something, and they'll actually tap into the children's minds and mind control them to have sex with each other while they watch from a laptop camera that they hack into, and they can see the bed right there where they mind control the children and have sex with each other. And then they sit in the control room at night and jack off. Yeah, That machine is what they're going to roll out and say is Christ later down the road. In case y'all was wondering. They attacked me with that machine, that quantum AI. So actually, that's just an AI system, but yeah. So they attacked me with that system after they used me for a hit job on Dan Patrick. Of course, I got the supernatural here that was just kind of like, yeah, we're having a good time over here at the Giant 314 Pie Hook Drive, baby. Yeah, y'all gonna use me for a hit job? Oh, this sounds good. I see the big trap coming because I can think quantumly. Cha-cha. Well, yeah, after they tortured me after that went down. Well, maybe that's the Antichrist. I don't know. Yeah, I can see everything that y'all do in that control room from my supernatural HUD that can actually remote view anything on the planet. It doesn't need technology that y'all tortured me with that creates an artificial HUD. I've got two HUDs, like I said. So I've got a HUD that shows me what y'all are doing over there, and then I got a HUD that y'all beam into my mind. You beam into my vision, which depicts what you want to brainwash into my mind, right? So I've got a HUD that's been around longer than the new one that showed up and tortured me, and the HUD that's been around was always right. And the new HUD, it shows me bullshit all the time. And then the old HUD tells me what they're doing behind the scenes, the people that are operating the new HUD, what they do behind the scenes, which was just depicted in that last segment there 2 segments ago. So, yeah, Rush Hudson Limbaugh. Yeah, he was one of the Majestic 12 there. You already whacked him, but he was a pretty good con artist himself, and he's here with me. So, General Solomini's house. So, yeah, you still got to deal with that. Why, Johnny Ringo, you look like you've seen a ghost. Doc, I was just fooling around. Oh, yeah? Well, I play for blood, remember? The funniest thing about a lot of people, when I say Rush was the second most telepathic person on the planet, their instinct is to think, well, were they tapping into his hearing aids? You know, he had those high zook hearing aids. Yeah, they might have been for audible telepathy, which is voice to skull or whatever you want to call it, which is legit. That's actual technology. But the supernatural, this is where it gets really good. This is the con job of a lifetime. I'm telling you, man, it's unbelievable. Because we can see a different story in our heads-up display than the audibles that you get, right? So Rush Limbaugh would be on the same page with me because we have the heads-up display, and his name was Rush Hudson Limbaugh, but everybody thought he was telepathic because of his extra his Borg technology that he had there for his hearing aids. And then there's con jobs inside of con jobs. That had nothing to do with that. He's got a heads-up display. That's why he's a HUD, son. It's brilliant. I just went with the general portray us flow. Uncle Vlad agrees with this statement. I just went with the general portray us flow, Putin. It never fails. I got perfectly timed farts. But because they were going to try to frame me as being the Antichrist. But like I said, I explained all of that. I lost track of what I was going to say. But yeah, I went with the flow so that I can be like after the end, like, why did the Antichrist have to explain all of this to perfection then to people while y'all were attacking me? I mean, how do you frame somebody by attacking them with technology, and then the guy prove it, and then you're going to claim that I was the Antichrist, and you're going to use things like that Colin Powell and Bob on the Dole whenever you're going to say I ordered his hit job or something. Maybe I just seen him about to die, so I had the perfect setting movie audition to email on a time-stamped email right before they died to just spice it up a little bit because I'm going with the flow, right? I mean, How do y'all know that's not the case? How do you know that while you were running this con job to make me the Antichrist, that I wasn't doing a uber duper super duper? That's just the most magnificent con job ever devised, because it entraps the people that were trying to create an Antichrist to cover up their own crimes, right? Their own sins. So if they can blame all of this on an Antichrist who they have bona fide evidence as the Antichrist, but that Antichrist was sharing intelligence with as many people as he possibly could to prove what's going on and what these people are up to, while he used the technology that allows him to be the Antichrist, which is technology that gives you the ability to call Colin Powell's death the night before it happens and Bob on the Dole's death the night before it happens. And the guy that sang "The Devil Went Down to Georgia" the night before it happens with the fiddle. Yeah, I did that too. So, on and on and on. Alex has a hit list. I think, what am I up to? About 12 right now. How many volcanoes am I at? About 5 or 6? Yeah, that's technology that makes that possible. So they attacked me and used me and hammered me and tortured me and trauma-based mind controlled me to develop an Antichrist, but the entire time they were doing it, they were being set up because the underlying water inside of the story that you're going to tell tells a different story that's more convincing than your story, and the different story allowed all of you to have a noose wrapped around your neck so that you can all hang. Yeah. Don't sound like no Antichrist I ever heard of. You know what that sounds like to me? That sounds more like an Idiocracy Jesus. That's what it sounds like. An Idiocracy Jesus. Just like that movie Idiocracy. Joe is Idiocracy Jesus, and Rita is Idiocracy Mary. And boy, did that play out to perfection in that movie. So I guess if Jesus returned to Earth right now, and 75% of the people on the planet are mind-controlled goons who's been their mind's been laced with nanotechnology and 5G technologies, walking them around like a meat suit. And that culture that they developed within that group was designed to make them dumb on purpose so that they'd be easy to manipulate and control. Well, what would Jesus do in that situation? And what would Idiocracy Jesus do in that situation? Well, he would make the people that did that to all of those 75% look dumber than the 75%, which is the group that would have names like General Portray Us and Sign a Surrender Bee the other day, and all these names that work to perfection with this quantum water and Trump and hell, even Tulsi. But see, there's some of us, the Majestic 12, that set y'all up intentionally because we don't like to have our minds hacked, right? See, believe it or not, there's people on this planet that doesn't like being a nigger, right? So, that's not racist. Nigger means slave. I just use the word nigger because now you're talking about making an entire society who was going to try to dupe the people that they turned into mind-controlled slaves into believing all of this shit. You got this upper echelon, supposedly, society. Well, when you can prove that they're bigger niggers than the people that they thought that they had made niggers, well, if those people are bigger niggers than those people that they thought they had made niggers, well, that's where Idiocracy Jesus comes in. And Idiocracy Jesus will point out to the people that they were trying to turn into niggers that the people that were trying to turn them into niggers are actually bigger niggers than they are. Nigga, 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 nigga. And most of them niggers are Nazis, right? So, of course, there's the Majestic 12, too. And people like Louis Farrakhan, right? He is not that, right? He's a Majestic 12 agent. And there are some name game going on in the Majestic 12 agency that we got going on here. So what would be better off? What would be the best thing you could do to a bunch of Nazis who consider everybody dumb niggers? What was the best thing that you can do to them? Like if you were Idiocracy Jesus. You could prove with underlying quantum interdimensional water that everything they did in the Middle East while they went over there to get those Middle Easterners, you could use a slang word there, but last time I did that, YouTube took my video down. And they do everything that they were going to do. And when you got done, you could say Louis Farrakhan was calling the shots on them Nazis because he wanted to wrap a noose around their neck when it was all said and done, because his last name is Farrakhan. It's fair that I con you this bad because you were attacking my Middle Eastern people. It's fair that I con you this bad when I point out all the water in 9/11, and then you went over there to take out Saddam Hussein. Cha-cha. Well, if it was pointed out to the Nazis that Louis Farrakhan hosed them that bad because he was willing to sacrifice some of his people to set these people up so bad that they'd never be able to attack them again because his name's Louis Farrakhan. Well, if he was able to pull all of that off, well, when it was all said and done, in the end, that Pentagon would look like bigger niggers than the people that they were calling niggers do. You see how that works now? That's Idiocracy, Jesus. Hey, Alex, did you give Farrakhan the coordinates to the cowboy church there? Where he can send money to my church there? Yeah. I could use some money there, Farrakhan. Connie's waiting on it. Hey, Lewis, could you come, do a little thingy at the church there? Call it the Cowboy Church is like a non-denominational church. I think what it is it's on a chocolate river electromagnetic ley line that's a supernatural or something. So, like Louis Farrakhan's welcome there. That would be, man, you want to mess with some people's heads. Come do your thing at the Cowboy Church. we can really put the exclamation point on this. Farrakhan actually does a pretty good bit about Jesus and how Satan's been controlling the world for a long time. So, I'm not saying he's going to come in there and be all about. He's just going to talk about God. Is what he's going to do. That's what he does. If you really listen to him, he talks about God like the Cowboy Church does. So yeah, we're adults. It's what I call an adult. It's like cool, yeah. You believe what you believe, and I believe what I believe. You're welcome in my church. You're welcome in my church. Yeah, I'd like for you to come talk about God in my church. Oh, really? Cool. Well, I'd like for you to come talk about God in my church. That'd be cool. Yeah, that's called an adult, right? So yeah, we're adults over there at the Cowboy Church, and Louis Farrakhan's welcome there if he ever wants to surprise visit or a not so surprise visit, or just come in there and talk about God. You know how we do. Got a special gift for talking about God. Actually, I got a special gift that isn't completely about talking about God, but I'm God's nigger, so he uses me to tame snakes and stuff, and in Washington and stuff like that, in the mainstream media. So I'm a snake charmer. So I'm not really talking about God as much as the people like Farrakhan and the Cowboy Church do, but since I'm a snake charmer, I still work for God. I just got a different department there. I'm a matchmaker, actually. I'm a pretty good matchmaker. I think Louis Farrakhan doing his bit there at the Cowboy Church, I think that would be amazing, actually. If you wanted to rake the media over the coals and be like, wait a minute, what do we got going on here? How are we going to spin this? You really can't. So the media will cut out just that one section of me saying nigger, and they'll just use that one section, right, and that one clip, and they won't put the whole story out there. But that doesn't matter in my case, media. So because I don't want to be a politician. No, I'm the guy that explains the quantum water behind the scenes in the Nigerian chainmail scheme, and everybody that has any sense looks at all of it and goes, wow, that is amazing. And they go, wait a second. These media people are a bunch of frauds. And They were trying to turn this guy into another puppet nigger for politics. And I'm not even interested in any of that, to be honest with you. I'm too big picture and too slightly autistic to be into politics. I can assure you that. Y'all take your marching orders from me, usually, there, media. So once everybody figures that out, they're going to. Why do I need to be in the political business or anything like that? I'm more in the this is what Earth's looking at from a 200,000 foot view business, right? And then disseminating information that's really worthy of watching for just entertainment value simultaneously to your checkbook at the same time there. My Soros indicator just lit up like it's on fire right now, so he must be agreeing with me telepathically there. See how that works? So yeah, you just watch the Rockefeller video and everything else I put on full display there. I don't want to be a politician. I could care less about politics, and you're not going to blackmail me into being politics, and that's the reason that I've got more blackmail on all of you than you have on me. See how that works? I actually intentionally gave you blackmail on myself so that your system could allow me to get into your minds even more and more and more, because you thought that's how you work. You'll entice somebody, or you'll collect blackmail on somebody, and when you think that you have them blackmailed, right? This is how this media mind hive works. They'll slowly and gradually collect blackmail on somebody, and the more blackmail they get on somebody, the more they allow the person to enter into their mind hive, right? Because they know they got them, right? So they got you. I got blackmail on this guy. Well, I didn't want to enter your mind hive in the first place, and you illegally hacked me. So I was giving you a blackmail that I intentionally gave you as you were cycling through my memories with your illegal technology. Intentionally giving you blackmail because within the blackmail that I gave you is a story that exposes your entire operation, if you haven't noticed. So that's how I was handling that business right there, right? You know what I'm saying? That's how I was up in there handling that business right there. I'll just fabricate a story up in this mind right here now, nigga. Shit, I'll get a story fucking fabricated up in this mind so fast, next thing you know, you got Hunter Biden up there on national television smoking crack up in the house, up in there now, nigga. Shit. You know what I'm saying? Up in here. So, yeah, go ahead. I sell information to people like Lockheed Martin. So you can blackmail the shit out of me. I gave you blackmail. Every bit of blackmail that you got from me made the big screen, baby. And the underlying message in that blackmail buries all of you because it proves you're a bunch of frauds that blackmail people into office. That's the whole program. That's the whole Pinky in the Brain program. That's the whole script. Operation Bait and Tackle, baby. Shit. Fuck your politics. Nobody cares about your fucking politics, media. They think you're a bunch of dumbass, ignorant. You know what you are right now, media? And I put this in emails before. I'm having a hard time. I'm getting hammered right now while I'm trying to speak my mind. But that's why I got to type, right? I type better than I talk these days because I'm hitting the freaking nail on the head too hard, right? Which is fine with me. And that's another reason why I don't want to be a politician, because I got to deal with that. Okay? So I'm not going to deal with that. I'm not going to be your puppet that gets up there and says what you want me to say. All right? Y'all can fuck off. I got a bigger view of the world than all of you put together. All right? Seriously. So why would I want to be up there and be a puppet to your system? I don't want to be a puppet to your system. Your system's a puppet to me. If you hadn't figured that out yet. All right? Seriously. Your system's a puppet to me. I'm not a puppet to your system. All right? And when you used your system to try to make me a puppet, that's when you found out that your system was a puppet to me. This is what's happening to you right now, media. You are being destroyed by the people that made you puppets. And they're doing it on purpose because they have social media and algorithms that can do your job for you. They can engineer society for free without $50 million contracts. They don't need you, Sean Hannity. They don't need you, Don Lemon. You're trash now, so they're burying you in dirt it up to your eyeballs, because it's the same situation as the kid at McDonald's who dunks the fries, and he just got replaced by the robot who puts the fries into the grease and pulls them out. There's not a human doing that anymore. There's a robot doing it. Social media is the new algorithm social engineering device that replaces the media, who's the media pundits like Sean Hannity and Don Lemon are the people that dunk the fries at McDonald's. You're all being replaced by AI, and the media allowed that to happen because they thought when it was all over with, they would be elite. Yeah, you're not elite. They're going to chop your heads off just as fast as they chop all of the other people's heads off that you helped fool. That's exactly what they're about to do to you, media, because you're useless eaters. Those of you following my insurance adjustment of Russia having the hypersonic missiles in Brazil, and we're invading Ukraine, and and the Bridge of Spies insurance adjuster, where I got to figure out whose dick's bigger, right? I mean, basically that's what I am. I'm a pecker checker is what I am. I measure penises for a living, and try to let, in a civilized manner, the powers that be know who has the bigger dick. That way they don't have to go into a dick fighting sword fight, right? A dick sword fight. So if I can manage to adjust all of this out and then put the perfect package in front of everybody for who is got the bigger dick for the pecker checker thingy, well, we won't really have a nuclear holocaust or anything like that. We'll just sort it all out mathematically, which is what everybody wants. So that's the kind of my idea of a new world order. From now on, we'll just strategize as to who's got the upper hand in a big Bridge of Spies brainstorming contest, and whoever can come up with the most evil idea or what. See, whenever I say Uncle Vlad took missiles to Brazil and he's got them pointed at America right now, people go, well, how do you know that? Are you a Russian agent? No. I have an extremely evil mind, and my criminal IQ is through the roof. So if I was in Uncle Vlad's position, I would use Brazil to have a Cuban Missile Crisis 2.0 while you're trying to invade my border at Ukraine. Well, that's what I would do. And you got Mini-Me over there in Russia. So he'd probably do the same thing that I would do, is what I'm trying to get at. That's how I come up with that information. So, and then when you see a double confirmation that is what took place, with some symbolism and some pictures and things like that, where you don't really want to admit it, but you kind of want to flexomatic ping pong paddle it. So it's a flexomatic ping pong paddle back from Russia, letting you know, hey, yeah, by the way, we put a bunch of hypersonic missiles in Brazil, and I didn't really want to let you know that. I'll let my insurance adjuster check check that box off for you to let you know my dick's bigger in that situation that we just got into, because there was some underhanded shit that I did that you didn't know about, which kind of put us at an equilibrium right now. So that's where we're at. We're at an equilibrium. It's mutually assured self-destruction, basically. So there's only that one upper hand, is the 5-minute strike that I put together with the 30,000 subs and the 60,000 hypersonic missiles. That takes everybody's shit out at the same time. Yeah. Somebody said I should do a before and after picture the other day. Remember that email about the political scientist, the general, and the weapons specialist the other day? I program myself sometimes for these videos. I just come out here and listen to music, drink a couple of beers, and smoke a hoot sometimes. Sometimes I'll eat a bunch of LSD, snort a bunch of blow, and eat some mushrooms all at the same time. Just depends on what kind of mood I'm in that night. But or even eat about a gallon of ecstasy and just be like, yeah. Let's talk to the spirits tonight up in here. Of course, you know, I also infiltrated a gay nigger Nazi cult one time, so when it comes to things like that, I wouldn't believe only half of what I see, and only don't believe nothing you hear and only half of what you see. Well, if you got two HUDs, that makes a whole lot of sense. So, the reason that I repeat myself a lot in these stories is because as I'm connecting dots, there is another layer to the onion or another dimension that starts making sense within what I've already told you, and I got to come back every time and go through stuff that I've already explained and then add that next dimension, so I'm constantly repeating myself. But when you boil all of this down, if somebody would do that professionally, like they've done in Hollywood for years now, that's spot on. If you'll boil all of that down, especially Spielberg's work, when this is all over with, you'll have all 7 dimensions of something that I repeated over and over and over again, and then until I get to the 7th dimension, like I did with Peggy Babcock already. So you roll over and over, and so this is the best way I can explain all of this, and I get repetitive and all of that stuff, but it's when that other dimension hits me, I've got to tie it all together again. So that's why my videos are kind of boring. But yeah, if somebody wants to watch all of this and professionally boil down everything that I said, Alex Jones, which you've pretty much already done, but I don't get any credit for that for some reason. I think that's because y'all was going to roll me out as the Antichrist, but I ran a better con job than everybody else did. So there's that. Better than wax. These roasts that I put on where, you know, you have dildo sword fights where let's see who can con the other country the best kind of things, and let's, you know, see who can get the best sex tape and all that stuff. The psychopathic table, every time that something like that goes through my head, I'll look over there and it's better than wax. You know what I find odd is Charlie in Willy Wonka was the kid that brought the everlasting gobstopper back to Willy Wonka, so Willy Wonka gave him the Enterprise, right? What's funny is that the Cowboy Church, they were kind of one side of the, or well, most of the church probably was anti-vaccine, but who knows how many of them took it. I don't know. But one thing that I do know for a fact is the pro-vaccine guy at the Cowboy Church, his name was Charlie. Huh. Well, I don't know about that one. That's just one hell of a coincidence, ain't it? Charlie's China code. I don't know. I'm gonna have to ponder on that one for a little while. That just came to my attention that Charlie equals China. So if Charlie was the guy that took the vaccine that was the everlasting slime stopper, then are you see? I know that's a reach. That's a reach, is what I tried to say at the end there. Not sure if the camera caught that or not. I'll have to ponder on that one. I'll let Alex ponder on that one. I think I'm gonna work me about a 9 to 5. I was a Buckeye pipeliner there. We just come up in there at the plant there. I'd done that cyanide plant and then got into that Buckeye pipeline, and hell, I was doing good out there on the bio now. Shoot, I'd just come home, I'd set my crab traps and everything and just fish off the dock and everything and just work 9 to 5 and had the best life ever. I drink me about a 12-pack of beer every day and down there on the bio now. Daggum, I'll tell you what now. It was just a prime time lifestyle for me. It just, some reason, somebody wanted me to do something else, and then Daggum just came up in here and slapped me right across the face and made me want to kill the government for some reason. I think it was the government that made me want to kill the government personally, but we'll see how all that works out for him here in the near future. There's going to be a new government, though, and that's General Bidet at Fort Bragg. Marcellus Wallace. And Schwarzenegger. Schwartz means black, and Neger means nigger in German. It means Schwartz means black nigger. That's what Schwarzenegger means. Literally, you can. That's the translation. Literally, you can Google that, and that's an exact translation. So I'm not being racist when I say that. But what's even better is Schwarzenegger was that big muscular guy, and he was the governor of California, and he was a big black nigger. In case you missed it. That'd be Deep Mind or Mini Me over there. He's God's nigger. I had stroganoff for dinner tonight. Ribeye steak stroganoff, like prime rib by steak, like you'd eat like a really good steak, like you'd take off the grill, cut up in slices, in the pasta with the sauce. Yeah, stroganoff.